This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. We're going to center on business today, but not in the sense you might think, deep into the logistics of businesses. We're looking at family businesses and the dynamics that they contain, which can be very challenging when you're dealing with family and especially money connected to it. Our next guest has written a book. She's in the process of finishing it up, and it focuses on that. She's a professional storyteller, also author with many other books, all different types. This one, I'd have to say, in my view, a little bit different than some of the other books that she has written. She's our professional of the year, Carolyn Marshall Stearns, back on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Core. That's the name of the book, right?
That's correct, core.
And if I remember correctly, that translates to apple core?
It is an apple core because one setting in the book is an orchard, a family-owned orchard, generational business. And the apple represents the maturity of a business, the finished product. And the core is when it's breaking apart, but it holds seeds, and that's tomorrow. And so I've chosen core. I just got the artwork back yesterday from the artist that'll be the cover art. And I'm excited to have a bold cover that, people are like, why? Why the apple core? And so I open with an explanation of that. And seeds in apples do not grow the apple you ate. You eat a Macintosh apple and you have seeds in the middle, but they will not come out as a Macintosh. The apples do genetic potluck. And so the same with families. The next generation is not exactly like the current generation, and you may not get what you expect. And families have a hard time talking about those differences and who gets it and who doesn't get it. And so instead of bringing up anything that might be a hard conversation, they don't bring it up at all.
Especially when it's connected to business. There's so much going on there and I've heard all different types of stories. It even was connected to a business coach, but they specialize in families. I heard lots of stories, when you got this one that's not pulling their weight, the other one is more into it than others. Should we reinvest? In the area I'm in, I just saw a story where there are a lot of family-owned hardware stores where they're closing because the children don't want to continue the family business. Kind of sad, but understandable. We can't judge anybody. And there's a change to the core, I guess.
The reason I focus on agriculture is my background there. Mm-hmm. And we don't realize what we lose when that next generation does not continue and they are not in a large picture, because it's so difficult, because it's a losing battle. But where is America when we don't have farmers growing food and imported food? You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know what you're getting for sure. What they spray? Do they still use really bad chemicals in that nation? Things we've banned years ago. Local food is the best food for you. And that comes with local farms and farmers and all that comes with that as your neighbor. But in a crisis, we're going to need every last farmer we can get. And it's too hard to just jump in and start. Yeah. It's really hard.
Yeah, just the land alone. If that wasn't in a family lineage, ain't nobody walking up and saying, I'm going to take 40 acres right there and buy that now and I'm going to plant on it. Just not happening. Not cost effective.
That's right. And the reason that preserving farmland is so important is to preserve that local food source in land that's in large parcels, because, you can have a little neighborhood farm stand, and they can be farming 2 to 10 acres, and that's great. But to do the kind of food to feed a nation, you need big acreage.
Mm, yeah. And time. That's the other challenge when it comes to agriculture. It's not like build it and start cranking it out. No, there's time, before it just to grow, but prepare for growth.
Right. And it's seasonal and it's
Mm,
hugely impacted by weather, and middleman taking most of the profit of the crop, when it becomes food, like the wheat farmer versus the loaf of bread. There are so many challenges, but my book is full of hope because I don't want to deter the next generation. And it's also looking at what can you do different than the previous generation because it was so hard for them. So how do you diversify? Where do you fund that? How can you save money? What can you do that provides another service in companion to the food you grow that may bring in income, that's not so time intensive and hard on a family, literally, that's working 90 hours a week already.
mm.
So it explores all those kinds of things, but in a very easy reading, pleasant storyline so that people will get through it and hopefully find a seed of hope in there, some thought. And at the back, there are questions for discussion. Those aims aim towards the owner, worker, current, and those towards the younger generation, whoever happens to read it. The older generation needs to say, what would you do different? What do you see coming? The younger generation is there a place here for me? And how do we go about securing that? But there are a lot of in-depth questions for them to ponder and find the ones that suit their circumstance.
It's interesting looking at this with younger generation. On one side, there's a concern about the work-life balance, where older generations, it was work, keep working, 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 and so I get the potential disconnect with the agriculture, where if you're younger, I'm not busting my butt. I'm not going to do. There's other things I can be doing. But on the other side of things, a younger generation is more fixed on the quality of our lives in terms of helping, doing charitable things, helping others, whereby what we're talking about here, this is everything. Your food supply, it is, we're eating poison every single day. We don't even know we are. We just accept it. It's so funny. I just came from the grocery store. Figured I'd go early, beat the storm, and I bought a case of water. And on it, it says, no PBAs, which comes from the plastic, right? All right, that's comforting. And then you look closer, there's a little asterisk that says, PBAs not intentionally put in this product. Well, why would they put PBAs in anyway? So that's not to say that you're not going to get some toxins from the plastic, i.e. if you leave it in your car and it heats up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But just that to even say PBA is not intentionally placed in this product, I guess that's their release of saying no PBAs. But again, it's water. Got to think about PBAs. I just want to drink water, clean, fresh water. I want to eat produce that doesn't have pesticides on it. It's a scary situation. I got to tell you, Carolyn, when you start looking at what's out there and our farmers, where would we be without them? Everything comes from the earth.
And some people don't even have the opportunity to see that, to understand
Truth.
the capacity of what it takes to create that bushel of potatoes, that basket of apples, and we have smaller and smaller farms producing more and more. They have to rely on those aids like sprays and so forth because somebody can't go out there and shoo the bugs off of 500 acres of apples. You can't be taking care of that way. And, the mildews and the things that grow in a wet year and, fighting all those sorts of things, we need to rely more on assistance to farming through those avenues. And finding strains, doing research, finding strains of plants that survive all those variables without a lot of help. But
Mm.
that takes money that people don't want to invest in agriculture.
So sad.
It
And
is.
even the pesticide situation, finding natural alternatives, but usually they cost more. That's why, these companies and even other countries will plop the chemicals on there because it's a cheap, easy fix. They don't care. As long as it looks good in the grocery store. And that's the other thing. We take it for granted. We walk through the grocery store, look at the piles of apples, got bananas over here. Ah, everything's fine, everything's great. Yeah, how much of that came local?
Yeah,
Probably nothing.
not much.
Yeah,
And they focus on the most marketable product that holds up well under grocery store handling abuse. There's just truck after truck and here, there, everywhere.
sure.
So you see about six varieties of apples in the grocery store. There's more than 600 varieties. But
Mm.
if you want some of those delicious different varieties, you got to go right to the orchard. They have those there for the choosing because they can grow a few trees and keep them going and keeping that genetic availability because they may be the apple that survives in a crisis. And any and of all of our plants, we need to keep that diversity, the heritage breeds, because they may hold a genetic potential that saves us.
I don't do politics, but I wonder. It's no surprise that pesticides are compromising our health. Why wouldn't the government put more investment into farming in America?
Because they're all about companies making big profits and it goes to the other side.
Yeah.
It's all about dollars, not health and cents.
Well, okay, if we, again, not doing politics, but if you look at the chain of command here, when you start with not fresh produce and vegetables, which we should be eating, what's on the other side of that? Well, disease and challenges. And then one comes after that. Medicine. Cha-ching.
A for-profit business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't search for the cause of cancer, you search for the cure because if you stop the cause, there's no reason to make the pills to sell.
Exactly. Yeah. Big pharma. Big,
It,
big money.
yeah,
Mm.
it's a vicious circle. It's a dog chasing its tail, and something has to really interrupt it and change the way we perceive things. And I do see a percentage of people who are getting back to the earth, trying homesteading to feed their own family and maybe a little bit to their neighborhood. And I did see in COVID how people pivoted to try to find food. More people did their own little raised bed and grew their own tomatoes. That's really important, is putting that idea of change and, what are you spending your time on? You could be spending it on growing something. Even in the city, you can do rooftop gardens and
Hmm.
planter boxes and hydroponic growing in a window. So there's a lot of ways you can create your own food. It's explored a little bit in the book as well, in the hydroponics and
Mm.
different food processes.
I look at this and children, if you're a parent, you have younger children, expose them to it, but make this a fun activity. So it starts as, you know what, spring's coming. In back of the shed, we're going to create a garden and we're going to grow some vegetables. Come on, let's go do it. You're instilling in them the future because they may pick that up and do that as well. And your family's eating healthier at the same time. There's responsibility of your kids, taking care of it as well. But maybe it starts there. Maybe that we should look at that a little deeper.
And they also will understand there is an instant success and a
Mm.
prize at the end for everyone.
Yeah.
That the neighborhood rabbit comes and wipes you out.
Yeah.
A woodchuck pops up and takes your prize pumpkin, and it's out of your control, and they're hungry too. And so you have to be a better farmer and fencing it and protecting it from that kind of thing. I think those are important lessons for kids to learn. It isn't easy, But I saw the magic again this year when my little grandson helped plant potatoes in the spring. And this past fall, when we harvested them, it was like every potato was a Christmas gift. The delight of reaching his hand into the damp soil and pulling out a great big potato. And look at this one. It was every potato. And it was absolute delight. He wasn't one that ate potatoes, but he does now because he grew them.
Hearing that excites me in a strange way. Like I can feel I would do the same thing after all the work, planting, waiting, and things you overcame, the weather, pests, etc. To reach in there, it's like, look what I got. I would, if I had that in my hand, I'd be like, oh, come with me, come with me.
There's butter and broccoli and cheese in your future.
Yeah, it's waiting for you. What a feeling of accomplishment. And it goes back to our formation. This is what we did. This was the prize of having that vegetable. It's a real shame that we're losing that. We're losing that.
Well, and for those who can't, for whatever reason, if they would read books like Core and understand the lifestyle
Yeah.
of the farmer and what it takes for them, what they're sacrificing. And yes, as a family, we can go out and all plant potatoes together, and even the toddlers and the tinies are helping. And does it take longer with their help? Yes, indeed.
Sure.
But it's exactly how they learn, and they picture themselves in it long term as they grow up and want that magic every year. So,
I have a new appreciation for farmers after we're talking about this, Carolyn. And I wish it was even in season because I get in my car and I drive east. That's where I would go. That's where all the farms are around here. Probably about, maybe a half-hour drive, 40 if you want to go, certain farms. And pay them a visit. And just, and buy and know you're getting what came from the earth around you. Now, granted, sometimes they actually import stuff into their farm, so they have more of a spread for you. But I got to believe that they're very choosy about their vendors as well.
right. And they're looking to give you that option to keep you coming back to the stand to get many, and they're usually know the other farmers they're doing business with. So supporting local farm stands keeps that farm there and keeps those families teaching younger generations how to do that. So I stop at all, even though I garden and farm, I still stop at farm stands. There's going to be something there I can take and support them, put my little thing in their money box and support that family.
I still remember going 2 years ago and getting fresh ginger and how I use that in my tea and everything and cutting it up and like, oh, I'm almost out of it. I had to drive, a half hour to get it, but so worth it. And I got other stuff too. When it comes to a family business, based on your book and your experience, what would you say are the top two things that are most important to consider a family business, not just starting one, but keeping one for future generations?
To protect and preserve the farmland is one of the biggest things because it's pointed out in the book as well, and it comes from many friends who were in agriculture, and all that's left is the family name on a road sign to a bunch of houses. And being able to protect that so that it continues in agriculture in some form is, just really important. And for families to normalize having hard conversations and knowing that, we don't have all the answers. We're going to look to, there's all kinds of experts out there you can talk to in making this transition economically viable, and avoiding like inheritance tax that makes it so you can't afford to even keep the family farm. Things like that, yeah, we just got to have these conversations, have them with the professionals, have them with the family, and look at the family. Yeah, they're not like you. They got a whole new idea of their own and test it out.
And that's not to say it's a bad idea. It's just maybe a different viewpoint.
Right.
And look at your situation. Didn't you just recently open an ice cream shop?
Yeah, the family farm did after years of talking about it.
Well, there it is, where you're doing one thing, but you look at something in a different way, where you pivot over. We have dairy. Let's do ice cream.
Yeah, diversification is important. It's the old adage, don't have all your eggs in one basket.
Yes. Yes.
So, if you can have something else that you can do, and agritourism is really big. It's seasonal. It doesn't, it may be labor intense for a shorter period of time if you do a corn maze or you have a hayride
Yeah.
or you have a wedding venue or, I mean, there's so many things. You grow pumpkins and the month of October on your farm is crazy, but then it's over and it's a cash flow that's coming in.
Yeah.
And so that you have that extra money for that repair of that piece of equipment and whatever other things are coming up or just to pay the taxes.
I believe every farm where I am, if not almost every farm, does a fall type festival. If it's just pumpkins, great, but a lot of them do what you said. They create family events. It's an experience for a month, and bumps up the in terms of the income. For you, I'm intrigued about the ice cream endeavor. So obviously that's a seasonal thing. Where'd you even come up with the recipes for the ice cream?
They're using professional help, and we've already been making a mix for ice cream from our milk for other venues, and so why not use it ourselves
Oh, wow.
and let
Okay.
people sit on the land and look at it? And yeah, they're using this quiet winter time to tweak recipes, come up with new flavor combos, and get ready for the big spring summer push when it will be real busy.
So I'm intrigued here even further. So you're doing this, but you connected with somebody else to get this done, or is it all your family?
We have employees too. The family's taking the lead on it, and but yeah, there's all kinds of food specialists out there and people who have and the companies that you work with to get your flavorings. You want your mint chocolate chip. So, where does that come from? What ratios do they recommend? So they're looking at all that and really proud of that next generation taking it and running with it. I just like to sit there and listen to the customers and, see them interact and understand that this family's been here forever. And, if you're having a good dish of ice cream and enjoying it, it's really nice to watch. We don't see people drinking our milk.
Yes, and or snapping off a piece of a carrot in front of you. They're taking it home. So now you're actually watching the experience. That's got to be such a feeling of pride and joy at the same time.
It is. And I'm just thrilled that the younger generation is just taking it and running with it.
Beautiful. That's how it works. When's the book coming out?
So probably late March or into April. I've got to get this artwork to me from the artist, and she's having it high definition artwork sent to me, and then we will be able to send that to my book cover designer and get the manuscript to her. And I've got a couple more things to tweak in the front and back material. The content of the novel itself is completed and edited.
I don't know what it is, but I have such a good feeling about this book. I really do. My intuition is screaming like, yeah. And from not just the subject, the content, just the concept of core, talking about the Apple business and all, there's parallels to all family businesses within that book. Fantastic. And of course, you have other books and all
Right.
different types there too. What's your website? How do we find you, Carolyn?
Carolyn Stearns Storyteller.com. Also, the books are all on Amazon. Come on over and find me.
It's so funny. I don't eat a lot of ice cream, but I was at the grocery store just stocking up early because I wanted to beat the rush. And as I'm pushing the cart, I'm like, you know what? You're going to be hunkered down. You need a treat. I bought ice cream. I haven't bought it forever. And I wish I could buy yours, but we're in different states. But thank you for being here today and looking at something so important, our agriculture situation here in the United States. We don't realize how important that is. And we came from the earth. Our food comes from the earth, and it should continue to come from the earth.
That's right.
Thank you. Good luck with the storm, too. Safe travels, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All right. Thank you, Steve. Have a good day.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.